Okay, so this is a quick video to demonstrate what it's like to clean up a messy Works Cited page. So I'm just going to go through the steps one by one, and you can replay this if you need to see it again. So to my left, I have a messy Works Cited page. I've dumped all kinds of things on it. Some of it's in one font, some of it's in another, some of it's double space, some of it's single space. So we're going to try to clean that up now. Alright, so the first step is to alphabetize the entries by the first word of each entry. So we got Sparks with Sarah Sparks, and we've got Brown, so that's obviously before Sparks. Brown with a B, Sparks with an S. We've got Elizabeth Vera, and we've got a 1 in there. I'm going to go ahead and take out that 1, obviously does not belong there. We've got Tujan, so that goes before Vera. Okay. And we've got Gross, Natalie Gross, which goes before Sparks, but after Brown. And then we've got two sources from the Alliance for Excellent Education. And you'll notice, by the way, that when you have two sources by the same entity or person, the second time you use the source, so just to look at it quickly, there's your corporate author, Alliance for Excellent Education, and I have two sources in my folder that they wrote. One is called The Economic Benefits of Increasing the High School Graduation Rate, The other is called Mississippi High Schools. In my paper, I'm going to use both of them. So it's a little simple. I just took both, sort of the combined entry. But some of you may be using just Mississippi High Schools. If that's the case, it's just these two lines that are relevant for you, and you should replace this with Alliance for Excellent Education. Anyway, I'm not going there except to describe it. So we have alphabetized things now, but it still looks like a great big mess. And the directions say highlight, I'm going to fix that, highlight all of the entries and click the clear formatting function, which looks like that thing in Microsoft Word and this in Google Docs. And so we're in Google Docs, and I'm going to expand it for just a second so that you can see what that is. It's right here, kind of to the right of the screen. So I'm going to highlight everything and click Clear Formatting, which is going to freak you out. But you have to break it down to build it back up in this case. Alright, so once the formatting is cleared, highlight the whole page, put the font in Times New Roman 12. That is the third step. Okay, so we're going to do that. Times New Roman 12. Okay, at least the font's right now. And then for step 4, it says with everything still highlighted, set the line spacing to double by holding down the control button and lightly tapping the number 2. So control and 2. It did not work in Google Docs. Well, here's what you can do then if you're in Google Docs. With everything highlighted, go up to the upper right of the screen, and you'll see this, it's line spacing, change it to double. But if you are in Microsoft Word, the little trick with control and the 2 should be fine. Alright, so while we're here, we might as well go back and put this in centering, but just that. Alright, so what is our next step? We should take out any extra lines between the entries. So it's all double spaced, but there shouldn't be like this line right here. Okay, so we'll take that up. And it looks like there may be another. I can't tell for sure. We'll just keep an eye on that last one. Okay, so it says before you do the next two steps, read this carefully. At the end of steps 6 and 7, any entries with web addresses should still have them. You are only getting rid of the color blue, so you got some blue on the screen, and the http:// prefix to the addresses, not the entire address or anything in the middle of the address. So we're going to remove all the blue by single-clicking each web address, and clicking remove hyperlink, or in this case just remove, and it turns it black. Do the same thing here, remove. We're not getting rid of the address, just the color. Remove, remove. Okay, and so we'll look for any HTTP stuff. Okay, notice this was a SIRS one right here, and I had to get the real address out of the address bar when I did my SIRS. Okay, we're going to get rid of that. And it looks like those are the only ones. Alright, so back to the directions. Alright, so step 7 is remove the HTTP. Okay, we did that. Okay, so we're ahead. Then in step 8, sorry for my my telephone going off there. Sorry about that. Alright, so step 8 says to convert the whole thing to hanging indent by highlighting the document. And it tells you how to do that if you are in Microsoft Word, and it tells you how to do it if you're in Google Docs. It is really strange in both things. I'm in Google Docs, so I'm going to demonstrate. First, highlight everything but the words Works Cited. Yeah, okay. Then we're going to go up here, right here, where there is another thing that is almost indescribable. Grab the little triangle that's pointing down. Don't put your mouse on the rectangle, just the triangle, and drag it over, and you'll see it drags both. Drag it over to the ½ inch mark. It's going to move everything over to the right 1/2 inch. Then put your cursor on the little rectangle and move it back to where it was. And most of the time, the reaction, it's right. You might have one that's off that you have to fight with. But otherwise, hey, it worked here. Okay, so that's step 8. Okay. Much easier seen than explained, frankly. All right, now we're going to look at the author's names. Is there anything crazy in them, like numbers? We've already caught one of those. Or email addresses. Do we have any that are mistaken reversed, like this, Tom, Jones? If so, fix that. Take names out of all caps. So, like this one, this should not be in all caps. Okay. Looks like they're all okay other than that one. Not seeing anything crazy. Alright, now we're going to look at step 10, which is the titles. Article titles should be in quotation marks, and all magazine, newspaper, journal, and database names should be in italics. As it says here, ask me if you're not sure about one or several. Alright, so the Alliance for Excellent Education, those are in quotation marks, as they should be. And most of the time, if it's supposed to be in quotation marks, it will be. The only thing that's kind of weird is this one is in extra marks, and I have no idea why. Okay, but here's the magazine it comes from, so it needs to be in italics. And I was able to do that by pressing Control and the letter I. So EBSCOhost also. Okay, we'll look at the next one. That is correct, by the way. That's a quote within a quote. Alright, so Christian Science Monitor, because that's a newspaper. SIRS is the database. Okay, Education Week. And EBSCOhost. And the New York Times. Okay, and SIRS Issues Researcher. And Preventing School Failure. Kind of interesting that there's a journal devoted to that. And EBSCOhost. Okay. And that's it. This page has been cleaned up. If you have any questions, feel free to ask in the classroom, but thanks for watching this, and I will see you in the lab.